talk about.
So I think we will introduce ourselves. So I'll start. I'm Cath or Cath, and my pronouns are she, her, they, them. Do I need to introduce myself more than that? I work for the operations team at Afrikaburn, but part-time. I started off, I was one of the founding crew for Sanctuary, which is a safe space. It's a peer support space that we build so that people have a place to come when they're feeling overwhelmed, and then other people volunteer and offer support. That started in 2015, and then it has expanded. I then became the health services coordinator because I am a nurse by training and background. It's a hard word because the box immediately, I feel like the box goes around me immediately, but I'm a weirdo nurse. So I've also worked in emergency services, so I understand how you put together like the right kind of care, and we are like very far from everything. And even 5 hours to town, it's small rural hospitals. So I then expanded the health services, and then I stepped down for a while, and then I came back as mental health services coordinator. So that is support, which is a crisis response team. If someone is psychotic or overwhelmed or in mental health difficulty, we've got a lovely team of burner doctors and nurses. You'll love them. They're very cool. We have the STAR team, which deals with sexual and gender-based violence, handling complaints, educating people, doing prevention strategy awareness. So that's part of what I'm here to do today for STAR. And then we have Sanctuary, which is the safe space. It's open 24 hours a day. We have like 8 people on shift. It's really beautiful. You must come and visit, whether you're overwhelmed or not. You can also volunteer if you manage to make the training in time. And then the other thing we do is a team called Harm Reduction, who are at the hub, which is next to the Sanctuary. And we do drug safety awareness testing to make sure that people know what they're using. And we give advice to help maximize the benefits of substance use, minimize the risks, and reduce some of the harms that can occur, just like with driving or sex or any other human activity. So like there's a lot that I can hold in the conversation. We'll just see where it goes. So I'd love for you to introduce yourselves. But that's the bowl that we're all sitting in from my side.
Cool. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming through. And thank you to everybody. Thank you everybody for coming through. I'm new here.
Yeah.
My name is Sabelo. I'm an artist. I'm a painter, graphic designer. Sapelo. That's how you pronounce it.
But like
You can say ooh.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Your pronouns, like how
In Xhosa,
Yeah.
there's one general non-gendered pronoun. So in English, it's she or he.
It's okay,
What
but
did you say?
people go by different genders, so it's good to check your pronouns.
Oh, hi. No, I'm a man.
Okay, cool. So you use
I thought
he.
you could see that.
He.
Okay. Okay.
We added for people
I
like
never get asked
me.
it.
We added for people like me who's a bit of a boy girl.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, shit, do I use he? Do I use she? So like that's why we do it.
Oh yeah. So that
Yeah.
I don't
if
get confused.
if you're confusing on the eyes, you know,
Okay.
just helps.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. I'm an artist. I'm gonna be helping you with the artworks. We're gonna do a workshop of screen printing. Probably gonna do a couple of murals, one here and one in Afrikaburn, maybe 2 in Afrikaburn. We'll see what we got, and well, feel free to come through and have fun with me.
Yeah.
Nice, Sabelo. Hi everyone, my name is Lerato. I'm a dancer. I stay here in Orlando West. It's good to see everyone and to meet everyone today. And I'm with my partner Lebogang. I'm just going to introduce him because he's not going to be part of the journey. However, today he's here to perform with me. However, we also do dance lessons. If you guys want to partake in learning something new, we are available for you guys. Yeah.
Oh.
Hi everyone, my name is Senzi. Pronouns are she, her. And yeah, I'm an artist at heart. Gonna have some of my artworks being shown at the camp. So, my first time burner, by the way. Really excited to be part of this with all of you guys. And yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade. Pronouns he, she, they, them,
Lovely.
whatever you feel like at the time. I'm a DJ and also an upcoming stylist. I'm a second time burner, going for the second time with the Clam crew. And yeah, that's who I am.
I want you to be at Afrikaburn forever.
Hi,
I
I'm
love
Jay
this.
Stuyvesant, and I sorry, I represent as he, him. I'm a DJ. Sorry, just a bit nervous.
It's okay.
But
We
yeah,
love
I'm a DJ, producer, and yeah, I'm just generally into arts. I'm also a first-time burner. and
Cool.
I'm really excited to go on this journey with everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Anele, I'm Antomazani, my pronouns are she, her. I'm a DJ, I'm a upcoming stylist as well. I'm a vocalist, but I've taken a hiatus for quite some time. Well, I came here to support my friend and also to get more knowledge about the African band, and hopefully next year I'll be a first-time burner.
Yay!
Hey y'all,
Hi.
my name is Lindelwa. Pronouns, they, them, everything. Just be respectful. First time burner, long time stoner. And yeah, thank you guys for being here and accepting me.
Hello, I'm Sienna. I'm an artist and a set designer, so I work in a lot of different festivals and events in London and build sets and kind of decoration for different events. This is my first time in South Africa, and
First time burner.
Get into it.
yeah, it's been amazing. And then it will also be my first burn as well.
Okay, cool.
Oh, my pronoun, I'm she, her.
Hey everyone, I'm JC, he, him. I'm a videographer and streamer apparently. So yeah, I'm going to be making a film out of all of this whole project, which is going to be really fun. What else am I meant to say? I wasn't.
How
quite
many
listening.
burns?
How many burns? First time in Africa, first time in South Africa, first time burn, any kind of burn.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Tanis. My pronouns she, they. I am also first time in South Africa and first time burner. Like Sienna, I do a lot of set design, building in festivals. For this one, I'm gonna be doing some of the tech, some DJing, projection, a lot of multimedia, but usually I do a lot of fashion as well, which you might see something at the burn.
Hi everybody, I am Akona, she, her, them, they. I am a first-time burner, so I'm here to get all the information. I'm into fashion a little bit.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Erica. I'm a DJ and a stylist and a costume designer, and I'm a first-time burner.
Hi.
She, her.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Nati. I am a traditional healer, a liberator, and I am a fashion designer as well. And I am ecstatic to be in the company of such giants that I see before me. You guys are so amazing. I'm ecstatic. to be attending the burn for the second time with all of you. It's amazing, and yeah, I hope that we make the most out of everything.
Hi everyone, my name is Cindy, and I'm just here to support my friends Jade and Natty.
Hi everyone, my name is Tabang. I'm a musician. I play the flute and I'm also a DJ. First time burner. Pronouns him, he.
Thank you. My name is Raymond, but I prefer Tiiselane, which is my traditional name. And I'm here to support my friend, but I'm also a DJ and a percussionist. And I would have been a first-time burner this year, but I'm hoping next year would be.
Hopefully next year.
Oh, we miss you already. Cool.
And yeah, him, by the way.
Thank you. I'm going to send the name list down because I'm pretty sure I spelled some things wrong or misheard. I realized I can't hear up my right ear. I couldn't hear a lot going down this way. So I'll send it this way. If you can just, I don't know, I'm talking into both mics. If you can just check so that we have you. Sure. I'm not quite sure where to start. But maybe that doesn't matter. I'm going to take notes as we talk, as I think a conversation. You can use me as a resource because I have a lot of experience at the burn, also put a lot of thought into the burn. Something I didn't mention is I'm also a member, which is like you can get voted onto the membership at the burn, and then you become like a governance person and a cultural custodian. And then as the organization tries to make decisions, so you will help to appoint the board, you will help to be in a working group, maybe working on like how do we do things, how do we keep the principles, which is what we gather around like fresh and as part of everything we do. So trying to make sure that the Afrikaburn culture stays centered around the principles. So once a year we invite people to be nominated to be members. So always looking for new faces and voices in the membership. So in that sense, I'm also kind of coming as like a guardian of like the stuff that makes it meaningful, right? Because things can deteriorate into just being, I don't know if art can ever just be art, but maybe when you throw too much money at it, it could become just art. But also something like this can also become just a festival, which is, we could go do that every day of the week. We're doing something different here. So, you've all heard from each other. Some of you are second-time burners, some of you are first-time burners. I think maybe if we can just go popcorn style, and if there's something that you think you'd like to have answered, or something that has come up and you're like, this is an issue, or I would like to talk about this, or this seems relevant to me, then we can start with that because I've got so much information. I would like it to be relevant. So, who feels like either from your experience or something that wasn't clear before or a situation or like I have this question, I don't know what this is about. We can start there and we'll see where it takes us. We'll do a bit of weaving together and see what happens. I know it's scary, but it's no less scary for me. So for example, I mentioned the word principles. Do you know what the hell I'm talking about? Some do. What are the principles? Yeah. So I'm going to just give it another second because that's a big question and I think that's actually a really great place for us to explore. Anybody have something that springs to mind that they want to ask? Okay. I'm going to start with the principles and see where we get to. So some of you joined a WhatsApp group. And in that WhatsApp group, I shared a link because I'm going to use a lot of words now, and words are kind of hard to track. So I'm going to go in, and on my phone, I'm going to pull up something that's going to take us to a place that talks about the principles. As many of you that can get onto that page, it's just a website page, try and do that. Then I'm going to pass my phone to other people. Okay. And then maybe that just makes this a little bit more real and easy to understand. Cool. So maybe you can share. Does everyone in a little group kind of have access to the guiding principles, and you're on the website and some words have popped out? It looks like this. So in the Star Awareness group, one of the links will say Afrikaburn Guiding Principles, and it's just a website link. If you, okay, it could also have been shared in your crew group.
Let me pin it on the crew group.
Okay, so basically, there's a whole bunch of words on a piece of paper. Afrikaburn, okay. Burning Man started on a beach in San Francisco with a crazy bunch of artists, alternatives, probably queers, and anarchists. And they gathered on the beach and they created a sculpture out of wood which represented the American idea, the concept of the man, right? You know, you hear that a lot in social discourse around like, fuck the man. Who's the man? The man is the authority, the guy that tries to run your life. It's the state. It's all kinds of energies that prevent your personal freedom from belonging to you. And so they gathered on the beach and then they burnt the man. They were like, woohoo, we're liberating ourselves from the man. So that got a bit big pretty quickly, and they had to move off the beach because permits and fire and cities. And they ended up on a giant piece of land, which is just fuck off far from everything. And it takes you like a whole day to drive there, or probably more for some people. And it's a giant salt pan, so nothing grows there. The dust is so corrosive that it starts to like destroy your skin. If it gets in your eyes, you're screwed. It's like a very aversive environment, and there's nothing there. So that's where this idea of like going to a place where there's no social controls, there's no infrastructure, everything you need you have to take. Okay, fuck, what am I going to take? Why would I take it? Why wouldn't I take it? And then they're like, okay, so what do people do when they gather without rules? Well, it turns out they like to make art. Turns out they like to dance. They like to decorate their bodies. They like to create rhythmic music, and they like to break all the social traditions. That's what humans have been doing for like a bazillion years in various forms. And I'm sure you can all think of ways that in your culture, some remnant of that still exists, or aspects of it are part of our world. So one of the founders, Larry, who died a few years ago, who was really amazing, he looked around him and he went, why is this like this? Why is there freedom? What are we doing? Why does this happen when we go to this place? And he then observed 10 things that he saw happening that he thought were the philosophy of this group of people. But we're not in Burning Man, we're not American, we're African. So when Burning Man got really big, so it is now, I think it's like 57,000 people in the desert for like 2 weeks. It's huge. There's billionaires now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make that face. There's all sorts of people from all walks of life, and it's lovely. No, so there's, you know, it's got its issues. Culture does this, and then it needs to fragment and reform. But it came to South Africa, 2007. A group of people said, well, we can create our own regional burn. And so now around the world, there's regional burns. And in South Africa, ours is called Afrikaburn. And this is what it is. And it's now got to the size that it's like, it peaked at sort of 13,500, 15,000. And that was quite a wobble for those trying to provide care to the community. So now it's around 10,000. But to build culture on the principles, we had 10, and we added one for Africa called Each One Teach One. So does somebody who has the page open want to read out for us what the 11 principles are? They're pretty short names, and then maybe we can just chat about those.
So the first one is...
Thank you.
The first one is radical inclusion.
Yeah, so the first principle is radical. They're not in any particular order. They're actually all in relationship with each other, but radical inclusion.
Should I read what
Yeah,
it means?
just read the whole list and then...
Okay.
Oh no, don't read the
Oh,
definitions
just
yet.
the
Yeah,
list.
just read the list.
And then the second one is gifting. And then the other one is decommodification.
Yeah.
And radical self-reliance, radical self-expression, communal effort, civic responsibility, leaving no trace, participation, immediacy, and the one that Cath just said, each one, teach one.
Each one, teach one. Okay, so do you kind of recognize yourselves already? Do you feel like some of that is happening spontaneously as you work together and you organize and you start prepping for the desert? I feel like you embody so many of these principles already. So what's interesting about the principles is that some of them look on the surface like they contradict each other. Like, for example, radical self-expression and civic responsibility. So those could feel like they're opposite things. Like if we're supposed to be like responsible and socially minded, how does that work if you also want me to radically self-express? But the point is that it's a web, it's a collection. They balance each other. They help each other to not be too extreme. So for example, radical inclusion. That links to some of my work around safety. Because someone will say, yeah, but I don't give a shit about grabbing women's boobs. I'm radically self-expressing, and you have to radically include me. You can't tell me to leave. So immediately you have a little bit of an ethical dilemma, because how are those two things going to speak to each other? So we try to use the principles to balance our decision making. We try to see if that creative tension can lead us to answers that wouldn't immediately have been obvious. And also, in some psychological traditions, holding the tension of opposites is how you end up with a third, more integrated, more creative, more spontaneous, more healed, more transformative third option. So that's really interesting, is like this could be like a force of nature where like death, life, daytime, nighttime, but then you've got dusk and then you've got dawn. And so like categories that don't quite stay fixed and things that kind of move around. Right, so, however, as I said, Larry observed that these things were present. The situation at Afrikaburn is a bit different because we've said these are the principles we're going to embody. So obviously there's a bit of a gap, right? So are people civically responsible? Are they self-expressing? Are they participating, or are they just observing and they think someone's laid a party on for them? Are we working for communal effort when we solve problems and build things, have relationships? There's definitely a gap in culture, often between the ideal and the principle and then our lived reality that we share. And maybe that's the work of artists and seekers and cultural agents, right, is to keep on closing those gaps and maybe to deconstruct and get rid of ideas that don't seem like they're giving us great results. Like we can see those are the building blocks, this is a result, it's a shitty result, let's change the building blocks. We do have that freedom. Okay, so not only is it aspirational, we haven't arrived at this utopia. When you gather with people, the shadow, the unprocessed, the repressed, the unconscious, the stuff we deny, it all comes with us, right? We're still permeable to the outside world. There's 10,000 people who live in the default world who come and gather. They're going to bring their shit with them. So, I don't know if we should just talk about the shit, or we should talk about the way shit can be fertilizer. So, for example, let's talk about alcohol and substance use. If you think about the associations that immediately spring to mind, you might have grown up in a home with an alcoholic, and you're like, that's a shit show, don't like that. You might know from your community that it's an instigator in a lot of bad stuff that happens. And yet it's also something that's been used in ceremony for millions of years. In fact, most cultures before they had a psychedelic used an alcohol-based substance to facilitate festival, gathering, transformation, ritual. So yeah, we have this thing that can do a lot of things, and it's a spectrum. I think most people at this table already know that many things are a spectrum that are not stuck in two boxes. So people are gathering, they want to party, they want to explore their consciousness, they want to let go, they want to have fun. Some people want to seek oblivion. They want to not be responsible. They want to override their system so they don't have to think, so that they can be out of it. Where's the line? How does that work? What do we do as Afrikaburn? What can you do? So one thing that I've noticed, so I specialized as a nurse in addiction. That's a long life story of how I got there. There's two main schools of thought. One is abstinence. Like we should just control alcohol use, we should make it illegal, we should control people. Many drugs are illegal. But here's the thing, not all the same drugs are illegal in all countries. Like there are places in the world where alcohol is illegal and you could get the death penalty. There are places in the world where for religious reasons alcohol is taboo. There are places in the world where alcohol is used as a sacrament in religious ceremony. There's places in the world where substances are illegal. There's places in the world where all substances are legal according to government, national, country policy, like Portugal. There's places in the world where some substances are illegal and some other substances are not legal. So in 2016 they had the United Nations who has set all of the international drug policy and has created the conditions for what we call the war on drugs, where we use abstinence, law, control to force people not to use substances, which, as you can tell, has worked brilliantly in the world. It's cost a lot of money putting a lot of weapons into police and soldiers' hands, and in some parts of the world they have the death penalty. So we have all of that going on in our minds about drugs. It can then, if it's repressed like that, it can then become a thing that can become a place of unconscious letting go. Like we move from bad to, oh fuck it, I'm not responsible because I can't control this, it's so dangerous. You need to have police and sniffer dogs and all of that going on. So therefore, this thing you can't be mindful about, you can't be conscious about, you can't be educated about, you can't make choices about. Like we actually advocate, we like give up on our own consciousness around it. And we can sometimes then get into a pattern of being like, well, if it's inside me, I'm no longer responsible for my behavior. And some of us want that because we want to feel free, or we want to break the rules or rebel. So the approach that we take at Afrikaburn is knowledge and science are available. Like the cool thing about substances is that they're chemicals, right? That's something you can measure. That's something that you can test. That's something that you can learn about. Imagine you went to the doctor and you said, I've got a terrible headache. And the doctor took out like a thing of powder. And he was like, well, this is called Panado. It's really great for headaches. And then you're like, oh, okay, but like how much should I take? And the doctor's like, well, I'll just take a baggie and I'll just like scoop, and then like, here you go. Like, and you're like, okay, but how much is actually going to fix my headache? Oh, that's really, I wouldn't want you to abuse it. So I should probably not tell you what the therapeutic dose is. And yeah, and also like I'm a bit worried like it can really like it can destroy your liver and you can overdose and die from this, which is true of Panado. So I'm only going to give you a little baggie. I'm not going to tell you how it works. I'm not going to tell you what the safe dose is, and I'm not going to tell you how often you can take it. Madness, right? Absolute madness. So like, what are we doing with other chemicals? They have as much information, science, natural life cycles, uses, dangers, side effects, expected or intended effects. We can know that. We can choose our experience. Like me, I get very dizzy on weed. I'm not going to do that if I need to function or I can't relax and chill and make my environment feel like a space that holds my experience. You can choose that for everything you have in your life. So we have a space where you can come and test. So, you know, because sometimes a bag of something is found, and we suggest that you come and test it, that you use science, you use evidence, you have conversations, and that you share information that's accurate, trustworthy. Sometimes people test something and they thought it was one substance and it turns out it's something else, and they'll be like, no thanks, that's not my vibe. So this idea we have that people are just out of control doing crazy things and they just can't, like you can actually count beer, guys. you can actually work out what a blood alcohol level is that makes you feel groovy. It's not no beer, 16 and then blackout drunk. Like there's a whole world in the middle where you can feel really good. Right, so that is a thing that we do. We encourage everyone to talk to each other, plan your experience, think about how things interact. We have a chart that tells you like, oh, if you take this with this, it's going to increase the effect of this one. It could make it stay in your body for longer. Or this one and this one cut each other out. If you do this and this, you're going to notice that you're not having an intense experience. You might be tempted to take more, and then you're going to get side effects that could be dangerous. Or we have some substances that when you take them together, they all have the same side effect. So one of the most dangerous side effects would be something that stops you from breathing, from managing your own breathing. So it can repress or stop you from breathing. So I mentioned Panado. It has cousins. Panado, pethidine, morphine, tramadol, heroin. They're all the same family. They have different ways of working, but they're all cousins. They have a side effect of reducing your breathing. Alcohol, you've seen when people are very drunk, like physiologically, they're warm and flushed, they can't control their thinking, they can't control their muscles, and they can get into these weird, like long, very like deep breaths. That's a sign of alcohol poisoning. That's a sign that your blood alcohol level has gone to a dangerous level, because alcohol moves through all the organs in your body. So when you do that for 20 years, that's why your liver can fail. That's why you can have bleeding in your body. You can have memory loss. You can have dementia. So we understand what chemicals do in human bodies. We don't have to guess. So alcohol has a side effect of stopping your breathing if you have too much. What did I just say? Opiates, like pain pills, some of them, have a side effect of stopping your breathing if you use too much. GHB, which is very popular in some circles, can get into a lethal combination with alcohol, can stop your breathing and can also just reach toxic levels. And benzodiazepines, things that are used for anxiety, have a side effect of stopping your breathing. So you wouldn't want to have 3 beers, take your pain pills, because then you're going to get all of the side effects kicking in at the same time. So we feel that it's in everyone's best interest to be able to be educated, make great choices, stay safe, understand what they're putting into their bodies, and live happy, long, successful, fulfilling lives. Right. So we just encourage everyone to test, to measure, to think about combinations, to plan your experience, to understand how long something stays in your body, and very importantly, how long does it take to reach peak effect. Because rookie error, you smoke 2 drags or you have 2 tokes on the bong and you're like, oh, nothing's happened yet. I'll just quickly, and then oh my gosh, and once it's in, you can't get it out. So that is just very like measuring shit and thinking about it and planning like, 12 hours, it's midnight. do I want to stay up for 12 hours and not sleep? Because then I'm sleep deprived, I haven't eaten, I'm tired, I'm cold, I'm hungry. It's not lacquer. So yeah, those are just some things you can do about that. And you can talk to each other, like share information, give each other feedback. Like, I've had friends that I've been worried about their drinking, and it's like the hardest thing to be like, actually, that was a lot, friend, and you actually didn't have a happy time. And also, we had to walk you back to camp because you wouldn't have been able to find your own feet, never mind your tent. So, like, you know, we try to leave no trace. Don't leave a negative trace on the people around you. Don't leave a negative trace on the party. Consider your energy. Take responsibility for that. So just think about it like as a creative act, and not necessarily just like a throw caution to the wind. And because we are a system, like families, neighborhoods, nations, we're a system, we're in balance with each other. If these people are all dropping civic responsibility, who's going to pick up the rope, the slack on the other side? Somebody will have to. Right. So then, I think the thing that makes it, the bottom line of what makes it possible for us to be free, to push the edges, to try something new, to be radically expressive, is a foundation of safety. Like, it's become more and more clear to me over the years that you don't get a lot of freedom when you don't have a lot of safety. It actually just doesn't. You're not free. You're worrying, you're hypervigilant, you're worrying about the people around you. That's not freedom. You are unsure how far you can go. That's not freedom. So one of the basics of us gathering together is the concept of consent. And this actually applies in a lot of different ways. So it can be something as simple as, I'm a sensitive person and I don't really hug. I like to choose who I hug. So those people who are like a bit too much and they're just like in other people's space before that person's had a chance to even like opt in, that's just something to be aware of. There is a feeling of openness, and some people want to trade on the openness to push the boundaries of what other people feel comfortable with. Other people, the openness is a gift, a piece of art. We call it people art, like the way you are with people can be art, right? I think a lot of people in this room know that. It's a common quality of queer found family, is like we are allowed to make our own rules, so we are going to make an art of loving each other. You know, it's going to be something special. So we can carry that energy into the burn. So something as simple as kind of like, your body is there, my body is here, you don't have your shirt on. Am I going to stare at you and make you uncomfortable? Am I going to sexualize the moment? You will see nudity at the burn for those who haven't been there. It's optional. You don't have to look at someone naked. You don't have to be naked. It is a way that people try to practice this radical self-expression. People can have really transformative experiences about their self-image. Seeing bodies in their natural state that is not in media is so beautiful, so powerful. One of the camps, not sure if they're still doing it, but they might. It's called Steampunk Saloon. It's a whole bunch of queer burlesque dancers. They do beautiful performances, which I highly recommend. Also work in an altered state. Absolutely beautiful. And they used to do something called the Critical Tits Parade, where they would have a pasties making workshop, nipple caps and nipple covers. So you go and you make your pasties and you sit down, and then everyone goes for a walk. And then they ask the male presenting or the men in the space to like help hold the safety and let women have a chance to walk on the streets together, feeling safe and just being as naked as they want to be, which is super cool. The other way that consent plays out a lot is maybe as an artist, taking photographs. So the rule at Afrikaburn is no photographs without consent. Now, obviously, you're going to have to think about that, because what if you're going to miss the moment? Then maybe you take the photo, you walk over to the person, you show them and say, I took this photo. Would you like me to keep it? Can I send it to you? Do you want me to delete it? So if you haven't gotten consent up front, that photo doesn't belong to you. We are respecting each other's persons. One reason could be that in the default world, they're a preschool teacher. They do not want to see their naked ass on Facebook. and have to go and have a meeting with their principal about losing their job. Like, we really do need to respect that if the rules are suspended temporarily, we all still need to come back to the default world. Someone could be trying a gender expression that they've never tried before. It's no one's business but their own. So consent. There are pink bracelets that say no photographs. So if you just know, like, I don't want to be worrying about photos, I don't want to be thinking about myself self-consciously, I'm going to choose not to have photos, then wear that. And what should happen is no one should photograph you. They shouldn't even come and ask because it's just already said. Obviously, if someone is far away and unidentifiable and it's sunset and silk and they're standing on an elephant and it's just fucking beautiful, go for it, you know. But where people can be identified or it's possibly intrusive on a moment, you know, that's where immediacy comes in. We're in the present moment. We're not viewing everything for later consumption or as something that we're going to build for media. We want to be in the moment together. So consent in photos, consent in hugging. So any form of touch, strongly suggest that you check before you touch someone without their permission. And then obviously consent and sexual engagement. So the rules are often suspended. This year we have a sex camp. So they'll be offering kinky spaces. They'll be offering spaces where you can explore non-vanilla sex. They will be doing a lot of consent education. If you're new to that and you want to be in that conversation, you can go and explore their work. So they'll have workshops which are educational, which are great. Like, and then they'll have play scenes and play areas that are set back and are private. And then those you opt into. Usually, I would say that you need to go with someone. If it's a friend and you have that platonic support and they just want to go with you, it's just that you can't usually go on your own because they don't want people going to pick up people and get sex. That's not what it's about. It's not an ATM. Okay, so obviously that intersection between being in an altered state. Okay, so I want to say this up front. Being at Afrikaburn is an altered state. The desert, the heat, the lack of sleep, the noise, the relationships, the energy, everything is heightened. You are in a bubble of like it's palpable. Like whether you're on something or not, you can actually see and feel the layers of intensity. And obviously we've just gathered in this place. We're building, we're creating, we're talking, we're sharing, we're loving, we're eating. Like there's so much creative energy, it fills the space. So that can make that people who've not got a lot of balance around that, their boundaries are very altered. So on the one hand, you might enjoy the feeling of disinhibition. On the other hand, you could make a choice in a moment that you regret later. So that's just something to be aware of. Yeah.
Kathy, can I just say something, right?
Yeah.
Because
Please speak.
I think most of us here grew up in Soweto, right? And we are black people. We're African. And firstly, nudity to us is very taboo, right? I'm a photographer. I've taken.
I have an image of a white hippie like bouncing across the desert. I'm like, oh my god, yes, I hear you.
And I think I speak for most of us here that seeing that would obviously make our eyes wide, right?
Yeah.
But also I feel like we as a camp need to get to a space where we understand where we're going and we understand exactly what will be happening there, right? So as to, I like what you said about the male representing people have to uphold the safety of the nudity of the people that are nude, right? Because in most cases you'll find that it's the male presenting people that will make others feel uncomfortable about their nudity, whether it's them being judgmental, whether it's them just gawking at you and you're like, oh my god, it's just nipples. We all have them, it's just that mine happens to have an extension of tissue, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel
and
like...
also are illegal on Instagram. So already that's like different rules. People's nipples are treated differently already.
Our nipples are illegal on Instagram, but Lerato's nipples are very much welcome in that space. So I feel like, how can you help us as a camp mentally prepare to be there for each other like that, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's the nudity, and number two, it's the issue of the substances, right?
Yeah.
Because we come from a neighborhood where substance use is destroying lives.
For sure.
My uncle is an addict, and his addiction is affecting the entire family, right?
Yeah.
And when I look at him, I'm like, I don't want to go down that path. I look at other people in my community and I'm like, I don't want to go down that path. So now when we are going to Afrikaburn and we're going to be exposed to these substances, definitely we're going to look at them with, you know, some sort of judgment somewhere because of where we come from and what we've seen other people around us experiencing from using substances. So how can you help us prepare mentally and maybe even emotionally, you know, to be like, okay, if Sabza wants to try shrooms, let me be there, let me be his safe space, instead of being like, why are you doing this? You're gonna get addicted to drugs. When we go back to the hood, you're gonna, you know, how can we better support each other in terms of that?
Great questions. So something I learned last year for the first time. So I'm obviously super qualified to talk about the Black experience. I was born in 1974. I can relate to some extent as a queer person because there's different rules and you get treated differently, and that's that can happen for various reasons. Doesn't happen to me because of race, because my race is privileged. So I'm never in the Black position in structure. So Afrikaburn is still pretty white. We've had movements where people have gathered and had a whole movement called Brown at the Burn. So brown people talking to each other about their experience of being at the burn and what that's like. It's still very white. It's still majority white. It does not even reflect the demographics of our population. It's not 9% white people and everyone else of color. We also have a lot of internationals. So when you volunteer, we try to do some training, some critical thinking, social identity, your culture, what you bring, your bias, your lens. That, okay, you're American and you say that race isn't a big thing for you, but you need to understand that you're in Africa, you're in South Africa. So you have to be mindful. You're not just a guy in an orange shirt. You are also a white person. And we don't opt out of social identity. Social identity is the outside of us that has interacted socially, and it's what other people treat us as. And it's uncomfortable, and that's why it's so hard, is because on the inside you're like, but my outside doesn't tell you who I am. But you still get treated that way. So it's possibly the same for gender. It's like, I hate it when, and not because I'm a bit more genderqueer, I hate it when I walk in a public space and I get to a door. I haven't walked up to that door thinking I'm a woman. I'm a woman in a public space, I'm a woman. And a man opens the door, puts his hand on the small of my back. Do you know what that tells me? I've got to go back to my woman's place. He goes, you are a woman. I am a man and I treat you like this and I do this. That is diminishing, that's dehumanizing, to be treated according to a category. So what I learned last year in processing an incident, do you guys know the language around code switching? Right, so very much part of the Black experience, or if you're an immigrant or minority in some way, like the dominant culture requires you then to speak and act in a way that reflects the values of the dominant culture. So you are your authentic self, maybe even you have a cultural self. You know, you go home to your family and you wash the dishes and you call everybody whatever, but when you're in your home, that's not your culture. So we have like self, family, bigger culture, spaces, social institutions. But then those are like embedded in the dominant culture, which in South Africa is still whiteness, it's capitalist, it's, well, I don't know, all the other things it is, patriarchy. So, where am I going with this? Because it's such a long speech. Okay, so I think some of what I've understood from the experience of being brown or Black at the Burn is that you find yourself code switching. And what's super weird is that it's like a version of white culture, but it's not quite what, like people are hugging, they're looking in the eyes, there feels like a feeling of openness. But like you're still trying to figure out what are these damn rules. So I don't know how to help you make sense of that. But I think you can definitely talk to each other. Talk about like how it feels, what you're noticing. Definitely talk about what's happening in your body. Like, I had a discomfort, I can't really name it, but this is kind of what happened. What do you think that was? So your bodies are your best guide for understanding the social interactions, the layers, the emotions, the energies, the unspoken words. It happens in the body. So that's all I can say is try to tune into your bodies, try to listen to your own wisdom and your own intuition. Like, that was uncomfortable. I'm allowed to own that it was uncomfortable. I'm going to go process that, and I'm going to figure out why that was uncomfortable. I think, so the openness is cool. I think it becomes a problem because some people use the openness to self-gratify. So, you know, that guy, that hipster guy that is entitled and is patriarchal and does see women's bodies as a sex object, is not really so interested in the person, looking for an opportunity to talk somebody into sex acts with them or having sex acts done with them or by them. And I'm using all those words intentionally because for me and how we see it at Star, sex is a shared activity, okay? The analogy I've been using is like, if you're walking down the street and you're a boxer and someone steps out of the shadows and punches you, are you boxing? Okay, but you were hit and it did involve a fist. It's got some features of boxing, but it's not boxing, right? Why? Because you didn't get in a ring, you didn't have an agreement, you're not doing a defined shared activity. You just got hit. Sex for me is a defined, shared, mutually agreed activity that you create together. Consent is, we are making this together in this moment because this feels lekker. Is this what we want to do? Not, can I get you to agree or just not say no to a thing that I want to do? That's not a mutual activity. If you are on a dance floor and someone grabs you and moves you around by your arm, are you dancing with them? No, because dancing is a mutual shared experience where you flow, you read each other, you move together. Very similar to sex. So that is what we consider consent at Afrikaburn, is self-responsibility, self-awareness, you can be horny and you can be hot and you can want to do things, but like, that is not more important than someone else's mood, well-being, state, drunkenness. Maybe they went out to get drunk because they're grieving and they took themselves on a healing journey, and now you've been pestering them all the way from the frickin' dance floor because you think they look like a great opportunity. What is that? You know? So I think for me the differences in culture is a code switching situation. It's like maybe even some of the things you've learned about whiteness are not going to work so well at the burn. And maybe some of them will, because those behaviors are still potentially going to show up. So I feel like you need to resource each other and talk to each other. Patriarchy will show up at the burn. You are so right that a naked woman's body and a naked man's body gets read differently by people's eyes. We talk about the male gaze, you know? Like, if you're in media, then you know that the way you frame a shot and what you do and how the model presents and all of that is telling the story. And a lot of women's nakedness is told, she's an inanimate object, she doesn't have feelings, she's acted upon, she's passive. There's a whole series of like famous adverts where all of the women were like completely, they looked spiked, they looked passive, and it was a whole like sexy, it was like perfumed or jeans or something. It was like, all the women were like, that's a rape scene. All the men were like, oh, that's hot. And what does that tell you? It tells you that the unique viewpoint of each person is different. So somehow to stay within like my senses, my viewpoint, it's valid, it needs a voice, it's going to inform our space. So everyone's voices need to be heard, people's experiences need to be explored. And we don't debate each other's experiences. We can debate principles like what is fairness, this is the textbook definition of racism. But if someone comes and says like, whoa, I just had the worst interaction, that was a microaggression, that was incredibly racist, I feel horrible. But I say, okay, but did it meet the 5 criteria for racism? And I'm not sure if you really felt that uncomfortable. So not invalidating, supporting, that's an atmosphere you can create in your camp. So you can create your camp as a safe space. You can be like, I'm really thinking about radical self-expression. What does that mean today? How am I going to do that? What do I need as prerequisites? Or like you said, the substance thing is interesting for me. So I use, I don't know if you can all see it, but I use a little model. If I can draw it, so we should have a big whiteboard. Okay, so it's like, I'll do it like this, plus, okay, whatever that is, plus the thing, plus the things, equals the thing. Okay, so you mentioned the perfect example. A person doesn't come to the burn as a blank slate. In the 70s, they created something called psychedelic science, which worked on 3 principles: set, setting, and substance. Set is your mindset. It's everything that makes you the person you are. That's everything that you bring to your experience. The fears and anxieties about addiction, the memories of its impact in your community, the fear of being arrested, things like that, right? That is going to inform what you bring to a substance. Alcohol. We have always had sober burners. We still do have sober burners. We have a sober burning camp who has daily support meetings. There are women that are pregnant. There are people who are working on the crew. There are doctors. There are pilots. There are artists who want to just get that one thing right. There's an electrician. They're all sober. So burn does not equal substance use. It can if you're exploring that, but that's not the point. It's just because psychedelic culture is wrapped up into pushing boundaries. But so is art, so is performance, so is fashion. Those are all methods. The substances can be a method for some people who've never explored that, but it's not the goal. So you've got the person, you've got their behaviors. Okay, the person is maybe okay, there's nothing, there's no trauma, there's no fears, there's no anxieties. They're kind of educated about substances, but they are risky. They have 6 beers, they don't count their pills, they don't ask the dealer how many milligrams is the MDMA, they just don't do that. They don't do behaviors that are safe and educated. That's going to change their experience, right? Then the environment, a cozy house with your best friend, with everything measured, and your favorite music, and a bath, and a fluffy blanket, and your childhood pet, compared to lost in the desert, you can't find your friends, you had a fight with your girlfriend, it's hot, it's cold, it's dusty, you haven't showered for 3 days, you last found your toothbrush 4 days ago, your environment sucks, it's going to be hard. Or you've done everything the same, but now you're on a hardcore dance floor, the lights are jittering, the people are pushing, the energy is hectic, you can't find your friends, your environment has changed, your experience is going to change. And then these are the substances. What is it? What does it do to you? How does it work? What's the science? It's the interplay of all of these things that create your experience. You can change a few of them, right? You take a person with lots of anxieties, you do careful low dose trying for the first time with something that they're not contraindicated for. You pop them in the sanctuary, or you take 2 experienced people, you take the fluff, the hat, the blanket, the hot water bottle, you go on a mission, you look at art, you make sure that the way you're using it is a low dose, clever, you have a great experience. So you are the boss of your consciousness, and you are the curator, the artist of your experience. Yeah. That's an answer. I'm sure you can find more.
Can I add on a bit to
Yes,
it?
please.
I remember a couple of times at camp last year, we'd all, like in the mornings, kind of talk about what we visited. So like during the day, we'd mostly maybe spend the day together, and then at night people wander off to wherever they want to go. Then when we come back in the mornings, we'd mainly, like when we're having breakfast, kind of talk about, oh, I was at this camp, and this is what they had, and this is what happened. And I'm like, oh, this one pushed me. So there kind of always is time time to speak of our experiences, but I think we should kind of look into setting it as like something we have to do. Like maybe we
Instead
all
of
have to sit
something
for
that's-
breakfast
Yeah.
and speak on how it's going
Yeah.
for you. If there's anything you'd like us to change at camp or
Yeah.
so forth.
I have shared with you something called consent monitor training, but actually I will also send you something we recommend to theme camps, that they designate people to speak to when there's problems. So if someone is considered like safe and approachable, then everyone at camp should know if I just want to talk through something. Because when you don't have visible communication channels, then it becomes harder because you might be shy, you might be unsure. If you know those are the people and that's the role they've stepped in to serve in, then you can potentially be like, okay, we have a channel if you're not feeling great, or someone looked at your boobs too long, and that needs to be raised because that's just us slipping on how we're aware of ourselves and we can learn. You can always ask Star to intervene, do an educational thing, come and have a real chat. One of the things we do is like corrective counseling. Like if someone just really doesn't understand how things are working, they can have a chat with someone who can actually like help them process. Okay, but why are the girls getting so irritated with me? Like I don't understand it. Like go have that conversation with another man who does understand it and has your best interests at heart, you know? So there are things that you can do. And then also, I would say explore the stuff I've shared with you and figure out like what is going to be the heart of your camp culture. What does safety look like? What does it feel like? How can you know when it's slipping? How can you know when you're doing things that are adding to safety? What are you going to do if you have an incident that feels serious? How can you restore safety if safety's been broken? Just things to think about. And I would also recommend that every single one of you, it doesn't matter if you've got the crappiest little tent in the world, I never take a tent that is super weatherproof. Make sure that you have a quiet space that you can go back to, self-regulate, rest yourself, like just be in touch with yourself. Everything's very externalizing. There's talking, there's noise, there's things. Like have ways to come back to yourself. Go for a walk. Yeah.
Can I just say something now? And I think anyone in our Clum camp, let us make some time to talk about some of these things that we've discussed today. But a few things I've just written down, which would be really cool to discuss, is maybe how we can make this safe space. I think everyone can have an active part in being considerate and making our camp a really safe space. So when you're going out and seeing all this amazing stuff, but also maybe something that might be a bit overwhelming, you can come back to the camp and know that that is your space, your people, your vibes, and just really taking extra care to be kind and understanding of each other, no matter, and meeting people where they're at. I think as well, to do with substances and what you're, and taking things, it might be cool, we can discuss about doing a buddy up system, and that can be very loose, just knowing that you've got your one person that if you're feeling like you've got a bit fucked up and you're not really sure where you're at, you have that one person who's going to be looking out for you. Or you can even say, I'm going to try this, would you be there for me? Or even if you're someone's buddy and you're seeing them, they're not looking quite right, you know that it's your responsibility to take them back to camp, make sure they have some water, settle them down until they're ready to go back out again. So maybe have a chat between yourselves and decide, okay, would you be my buddy? But also, it's just a suggestion. I think it would be cool as well if you're taking something new, or just always share, or even if it's something that you're used to, if you just share that with somebody in camp, because then if anything does happen, like maybe you could even just pass out because you haven't drank enough water that day, we can take you by sanctuary, or we can take you somewhere and we can say, this person has had this and this going on, and they've taken this. So I think that's a really safe way of navigating stuff a lot.
So you are all welcome at Sanctuary. It's for everyone. It's for crew, and it's even for Sanctuary volunteers. We've told them if you are embarrassed to come and use Sanctuary when you've overwhelmed and you've taken something, then you don't really understand the vibe of Sanctuary. So we are not the moral police. We are there to hold people and accompany you through your experience until you come out the other side. And many people end up volunteering because they've had their own overwhelming experiences. And they were like, oh my God, my friend holding my hand saved my life. So you can also always find me on the radio. You find anyone with a radio and you say, you're looking for Cath, you're looking for catnip. You can go to Sanctuary, they all know who we are. And I will also give you some names of some brown people at Sanctuary who are on duty and can be there if you just need a safer person that is like intersectional with some of your other identities. We have a fair amount of brown people in Sanctuary now. If you want to be like, I need an ADD person because I'm being super weird, we got some of those. All of our harm reduction people are queer and neuroatypical, so you will feel very at home. You can ask us anything. Yeah. Yeah.
You said something about volunteering at Sanctuary. I think I'd like to come and volunteer.
Cool. I will hook you up. I would love you to do that. So are you finished? No.
Look, I'm going to be very quick because I want to, but I think just two other things that I wrote. Yes, let's try do morning check-ins for whoever's there and available. I think that's a great idea. And just checking in with each other all the time. How are you feeling? Where you at? And then I'm only saying this because we've had multiple meetings before we even flew out about what this experience was going to be like for me, Sienna, Tanis, and JC. They're all part of Clam Camp. But I know from what we've spoken about and where we're at, anyone can come find any one of us four. We are safe people within your camp to come and talk to, and I'm sure that have to think about if that's a role and responsibility that you also want to take on, then we can have a discussion about that and you can voice and say, hey, you can also come to me at any time. But yeah, you can think.
And I don't know why this just occurred to me, but maybe some agreements around drug-free spaces, like if it's getting too much for you and you don't want to watch people, then be like, we just don't do that here, or like go and find a tent to do it in, and maybe some drug-free times or drug-free tasks, like, you'd be like, I would just like people to be, so we call it consensus reality. Like if you're a ranger, you can't be altered because we actually all need to be on the same energetic plane. Doesn't mean that other planes are not good or whatever, but they're pretty intense. So you do actually need to be sober sometimes. And that would be nice if you can request that and just say like, I've had enough. I really want to do this task or this bit of the project, or I just want to do this without the energy of the too muchness. Because you are expanded and the too muchness is visible, palpable, feelable, noticeable. So just flow with each other a bit, Yeah.
Y'all can come and paint with me if you don't want to do drugs.
Yeah, you see, we already got someone.
Because we got a graffiti art project.
You can come and do graffito with me if it's too much for you.
Lovely. So you look at that. You've already got people to hang out with. I love that.
Something creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With regards to having safety and ensuring that there's safety measures practiced amongst the camp, how do we also implement or make sure that there isn't any element of stealing or protecting our items or probably taking shifts, so that when certain people are able to go on during the day or during the night and explore and vice versa. So as a camp, how do you guys also ensure that safety is practiced like that, so there isn't any stealing amongst each other, and also the resources are used fairly amongst everybody?
It's a good point. I think that can be a real point of, so it comes down to consent, right? If it's not yours.
Like, I'm sorry with how we're sharing resources as well. How with this camp, since I'm like
You're planning for
someone
next year.
planning for next year, I want to know how do I also like contribute financially, because obviously as much as we're going to camp and it's in the outskirts and etc., how do I make sure and cater myself, because one way or the other I need to have a sort of collective or an alibi where we have certain resources and we are reliable for those certain resources amongst ourselves.
Yeah. So just in terms of stealing, it really sours a camp quickly when you can't trust that the things that you put where... So I would first say, never go into anyone's tent unless you're invited. I can't even begin to explain to you the sense of violation when you feel like you've gone to do something and you come back and someone's been in your tent. Especially the longer you spend in the deserts, the more it feels like home. Like you have to feel like your tent is your ultimate home and that the spaces around you are your home. So just gifting is not taking. You know, if you want that beer, then have the courage to go to the person and say, can I have that beer? And then consent is like, no, sorry, I've been saving that beer all day. I'm planning it for 2 o'clock when I'm off shift or whatever, you know? Or it's saying, putting a label and saying, hey guys, these are free beers, you can share them. And by sharing, I mean everybody pours a little bit for everybody and one person doesn't take all the beer. So you have to find that way to flow, but consent is the basis. Then in terms of like at festivals get targeted with thieves, where they buy tickets and they drop and then everybody is looking for opportunities to steal out. So we don't have that. I'm not saying we don't have any theft. But let me just tell you some of the security stuff, the safety stuff that happens at Afrikaburn. Okay, so safety. Every single giant structure, every single giant stretchy that houses a certain large amount of people is checked by an engineer, signed off. Safety is huge. We have a health and safety team that are inspecting things and going around making sure the art doesn't fall down, that if it's climbable, it's safe. If it's not climbable, it's put up in such a way that people don't climb it. So those kinds of things. You are responsible for in your camp to make your camp a safe space. No exposed rebar, no leaving things that you can trip over. Stitches, broken toes, scorpion bites, heat stroke, sunburn. These are all things that are going to end you up in the medic's tent with some grumpy medics. No, they're lovely, but it's for emergencies. You must take precautions. Check your shoes. If your shoes are closed shoes, every single time you put your shoes on, you turn them upside down because there are lots of scorpions. They are our neighbors. It's their home. They are hella worried about what's going on. They're scared. They're hiding in everything because just these crazy people have arrived and taken over their neighborhoods. One year we had 13 scorpion bites. And one guy had to be flown to hospital in an air ambulance because he needed anti-venom because his heart could have stopped. So, safety. There are snakes. There are scorpions. I think there are even mozzies. So safety, exposed rebar. What's your plan for making sure that everything around your camp doesn't cause injury to your campmates? If you see something, fix it. If you notice something falling down, fix it. Storms and things falling down is another huge stress. So you have to help each other with that. Everyone, like if the wind comes up, it's all hands on deck at camp. Holding stuff until it can be secured and your rigger is telling you, okay, no, that's not actually safe, guys. That pole is going to fall down on someone's head. Then in the broader community, you'll see some wonderful people that have been coming since I think 2007. They are called guardians because they are our security, but they are not security. They are guardians. They eat with us, they sleep with us, they play with us. They are part of our community. They wear t-shirts that usually have angel wings on the back. And you'll see security scattered out throughout the city in different intersections. You'll see like a guard hut and a fire. They're very tolerant of our nonsense. Drunk conversations at 3 o'clock in the morning. But also, you could literally walk up to one of them and say, I need help. I can't speak. I'm not okay. I need help. You will be loved within an inch of your life. They will look after you. They'll call on the radio. The medics will come or support will come. You will find help. You're not there on your own. So guardians are your safe space. You go up to any person and ask for help. We have hundreds of them scattered over the event. So that's Guardians. We have a team called Night Vision. They're like our black ops ninja guys. They are on dance floors looking for shady shit. Someone spiking drinks, someone grabbing an ass, someone dealing for money. They are there like under the covers. They investigate issues. So if we get a woman coming into sanctuary and she was spiked, she didn't consent. So that's another thing about gifting and consent, right? Never ever drink out of someone. I had this experience once. I was asking myself the question, when did I first start thinking about consent at Afrikaburn? And I'm not sure that I thought about it for my first couple of burns, but I used to present very femme for a long time in my life. And I remember being in like a tiny little sundress, and I was in my 30s. I'm 51 now, so it was a long time ago. I had a hot body then. Wish I'd appreciated it more. But I was in a little sundress. It was actually a skirt. I was just too lazy. Like one year I just wore pajamas and slippers, like nighties and slippers. And it was like a boob tube little dress, and I was standing on a dance floor Sunday evening. They were burning a piece of art that had a real sacred meaning. It was like a precursor to the temple, but it was very sacred. It was like sacred geometry, and it had been built with great intention. I was standing on the dance floor, and I got flanked by these two guys, and they both started talking at me, and my brain kind of short-circuited a little bit. And then at some point in being talked at by two people, so I'm doing this, trying to be friendly, because women are trained to be friendly. One of them just very casually handed me a water bottle, and I took it and I went like this. And as I did that, I got to my mouth. I thought, it wasn't even like, my brain wasn't even like clear. I was confused. My body wasn't listening. I didn't perceive the layers of the experience, because that's what they were doing. That's manipulation. That's predators, right? They're trying to create confusing signals to switch off your awareness. But somewhere in my brain, it wasn't even a full thought. My hand stopped, and I didn't swallow, and I handed it back, and they walked off. Immediately. They didn't even finish the conversation, they walked off. And as they walked away and I carried on looking at the burning art, I thought, oh, I think those guys were targeting me.
Did you spit out what you...
I didn't drink.
Oh.
It's like somehow in that moment my brain just went, I don't want to drink this. I don't even think I was thirsty. Whatever the layers, thank God I didn't, because in retrospect and even now I can see the image of myself. And I'm like, I see myself, femme, short dress, pretty much hardly any clothes, and I was just like, yo, hectic. I'm more worried about it now that I do all the star things and I deal with like some toxic boy stuff than I ever was then. I'm like, yo. That was the first time I thought about consent, but I didn't think about consent. It took me years to process that. And I don't even think I was in an altered state. So people have techniques to render you not so thinking. So never drink from a water bottle without saying, would you like some water? Common question, very friendly. It could be water. You just ask what's in it. And they should say, oh no, there's nothing in it. It's just water. And people know what you're asking. They know, has it got LSD in it? Has it got MDMA? Those are pretty much the only things they'll put in there. So, and you might want to say, does it have something in it? And they're like, no, it's just water. You're like, oh, nobody ever gives me free drugs. But you might be like, okay, great, and then trust that, that it's, but if you ever start feeling like you haven't drunk enough to be this drunk, don't go on your own to a toilet. So this is a classic club thing. They spike you in a place where you are with your friends. You feel weird, maybe a bit nauseous, a bit drunk. In the back of your mind, you're like, but I only had 2 drinks. So the feeling of being spiked is that you are more drunk than what you've had alcohol in your system, because it's a type of substance that is a benzo kind of adjacent. It's very sedative. It causes amnesia, which is why you use it for date rape, because there are some that make you disinhibited and not able to operate your own body, which makes you very pliable. They can do whatever they want to you, and you're not going to really protest. Some actually also disinhibit you. So you might actually appear quite participatory, but your mind is not present. And it causes amnesia, so you can't describe the person, you can't give a statement about what happened to you, you don't know where you were. That's why it's so hard to prosecute date rape. So if you're ever in a place where you've drank something or you don't even know where it came from and you suddenly feel way too drunk for that to be safe, don't go away by yourself into the dark. Find a friend, find a ranger, walk up to a DJ booth and be like, I need help. Stay where you're visible, sit in a place on a dance floor where there's a nest, but don't leave the space. Walk up to a woman or someone that seems friendly and safe and ask for help. We're trying to do a bystander intervention campaign based on care, which is something I can't remember right now, but basically involves, show concern, I think. Ask the person, if you see someone that looks vulnerable, show concern, hi, my name's Cath, are you okay? So ask if they're okay. A is, distract. So if you see like a weird thing, someone's doing a thing, then just be like, oh, Sally, oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages, big hug, cause a distraction, offer some water, become an annoying person in the conversation, who gives a shit? If you see them targeting someone, intervene, stay with the person and then help them get to someone who can support them. Sanctuary, or just stay with them until you get a ranger, ask for support. We are there, night vision will come. Try to take into your mind, it was a tall guy with a black jacket, brown eyes, a tattoo, because people can take a jacket off, they can take a hat off. So try to do more than just clothing. Think about what you see, try to give a description. Just because we want to make it not the place to target people because it's just too hard. Because we have a zero tolerance policy. If we have an instance, we investigate. We evict people, we issue warnings, we limit your participation. It's a private venue. We don't have to explain ourselves to anyone, but we engage in a fair process so that we can learn if learning is an option. We want everyone to learn, but we are allowed to say, hey, that's not our vibe. You don't get to be part of the community if you want to do harm to other people.
So would you say you have 3 strikes out?
No, zero tolerance policy. If it's a consent violation that violates our consent policy, so we're not judging your guilt, we're not doing a court trial. We are looking at the incident, we are getting collateral, we're getting statements, we're doing an investigation, there might be witnesses, there might be other incidents that come to light, and we're like, okay, that's a clear consent violation, that was sexual harassment, that was sexual assault, that was aggressive behavior, that was whatever. That's a consent violation. We now need to look at this in light of our well policy, which is, should we issue a warning? Should we exclude this person? Should we limit their participation? Like, okay, you must have an accountability buddy. You must have a camp of people who are going to take responsibility. You must have a community that wants you to be here and is going to help you learn. If you don't have that, well, the burn can't help you learn if you're just a nobody in a place where you just reckless, So, and the other one is listing, like, hey, we're reviewing your participation, you've come to our notice, you were screaming and shouting at your girlfriend, a ranger had to intervene. Zero tolerance for intimate partner violence, zero tolerance for spiking other women, sexual harassment, zero tolerance for racism, homophobia, misogyny, sexism. It's not a vibe. That's not the basis of freedom. It's not what we're about. We're not providing an opportunity for people to harm each other. If the other situation could be harm to self, so someone has a need to be sober, can't maintain it at the burn, causing a psychosis, they're fragmenting, they're losing ground with their mental health, they're stopping their meds, they're becoming psychotic. We'll also limit that person's part. We'll treat them and take care of them on site. But we require that person to be like 2 years healed, healthy, no psychosis, no issues. And then we will absolutely review their participation. Often that person comes back and does a sober burn. They have an accountability buddy. They have a group of people that care for them and take care of them. The biggest people who cause problems are the people who are not part of a community. That guy from Finland who flies into a fancy glamping situation and everyone's like, no, we don't know who he is. He's not part of our, we don't know. We're not taking him home. So relationship and community is the best antidote, because actually then there's this form of hey, we see you, that's not cool, or oh, you can do better, or that's just slipping a little bit. So in the absence of relationship, we have to use procedures and policies and try to make it fair and have some decision making. but it's not about external control. I think if anyone has creative ways to build community accountability and learning, we're so into that. If someone wants to address the legacy of patriarchy and racism and white supremacy and religion and politics, we're into that. We're really, really, really into that, because we whatever we built is built through all of our participation. So yeah.
Because like we're talking about all these harmful, scary things.
Why am I going to the burn?
No, I'm just wondering, like, does that actually happen a lot?
No. So the difference between the reason this is surfaced is because we care about it.
Yeah.
So women this happens in clubs, in neighborhoods, in homes, in schools, in hospitals, in businesses, in festivals. The difference is that we're like, well, we are responsible for making that difference. So that's why this has surfaced, because one incident is too much. And like, as you know, most people do not report sexual harm, intimate partner violence. So we've opened the conversation. We're like, we care about this here. We want to have the conversation. So I think by spreading awareness that there's even someone to tell, we're getting more complaints, but that's because we're dealing decisively with them. We've had some amazing experiences where the way we've dealt with a small incident here has been healing of something that's happened to a woman when she was a teenager, where no one listened to her, nobody cared, nobody believed her, and now suddenly I had a police officer telling a man who grabbed a woman's boobs. He said to him, "Well, sir, this is sexual assault. We are evicting you." It was a Saturday, I think. His wife and his friends were like, "No, the fuck are we leaving, bro?" He was put on the other side of the gates until the end of the event. A small little tent. He's now on the other side under a guard. He's excommunicated from the community because he was just like, but it's not and that woman was traumatized. She had every right to say that's not cool. And we were like, sorry, that's actually a crime. The police officer's like, well, we have a charge office. If you don't want to leave site, we can lay a charge and arrest you. Because that's actually what this is. I know we minimize it in our worlds because you can't walk around being like, oh, I've just got sexually assaulted on the bus, and oh, that was sexual harassment, and oh, my boss is sexist. And like, it's hard to live like that, as you all know, because other bad things happen to you all for other reasons. So, but the thing is, we're naming it. We have a zero tolerance policy. I would not say we're dealing with a lot. I'd say we're dealing with more than we ever have because we're talking about it and because we resolve it. Yeah, so it feels very positive. And also, I will also share with you, maybe be useful for your camp. We've got a model that we're using that talks about the stages of consent culture. So 6 stages, starting off with like, no, everything's fine here, we don't have any of that. And then moving all the way to like restorative justice, education, relationship building. But I think Afrikaburn is like 4 and 5. We're somewhere there. And what you could look at is what are the elements of a consent culture in the different phases, and maybe you can do some of those things. But it's great because now we can see like, okay, we're not there. We're definitely not there. But we're somewhere more healthy, and I think that's really helping us to measure things. And what has emerged this year is a lot more opportunity for education and awareness. So we started with, if we have a serious incident on site, what are we going to do? Okay, we're 5 hours from Calvinia. We're 5 hours from Ceres. If it's a rape, we have to have a forensic unit come out. We have to have a detective come out. Where's a safe space for the person to go? Do the medics know how to give someone immediate care? Who's going to be the victim support person? So we wrote a whole policy and said, if we have an emergency like that, what do we do? That's where we started. And then we were like, okay, what if we have a sexual harassment complaint? What do we do about that? And so the incidents have led us to more expansion. And now we're like, oh gosh, now there's space to educate, to build consent culture. So this for me, as a person who's been doing it, I think we started in 2018. So now it's feeling like we're building something positive. We're not just dealing with incidents or complaints. Yeah. So you're all welcome to join the Star Awareness support team. Yeah.
The star is the sanctuary? Or is
No,
it
so STAR stands for Safety, Trust, Awareness and Response. And that specifically deals with it deals with consent, boundary violations and sexual harm, sexual misconduct. And then we have Sanctuary, which is literally just a safe space of your peers. They're on duty, they're available, they do 6-hour shifts. So there's always a space to go. And also the space does the work. It's designed that when you come in, you're like, finally had somewhere to take this trip. Blanket, fluffy, hot water bottle. It's pretty, there's twinkly lights, there's kind people. We'll give you juice. We'll warm you up, we'll cool you down. If you're hungry and you're jittery, we'll feed you. So we change your experience by dealing with your environment. It's softer, it's beautiful. That's Sanctuary. And when you come, can't tell you everything, but when you come down Welcome Road and you go through the gate and you go down this one road right to the middle, and it's a big semicircle right on the corner of Welcome and Binnekrung. Binnekrung is the road that circles the art, and it's where all the front-facing theme camps, whether it's dance spaces and offerings. There's something called Off-Center Camp, and that's where all the services are. That's Medics, Sanctuary, the Harm Reduction Hub, and Rangers. That's where ICE is this year, and then Chillers, which has got, it's probably the creative expression of the Brown at the Burn movement. So a lot of forward-thinking artists. It really has like an African, South African, tried to make it Pan-African, I think, as well, flavor. And so a lot of creative shit happening there, and the focus is art and holding the space. And they also give you opportunities, I think, to sign up to use their space if you're a DJ or a musician or whatever. So I think if you ever want to go find people that make you feel safe, go find Chillers as well. There's some beautiful people in there. Chillers, yeah.
We're also, our stage, our camp is further in, but our stage is just in front of Off-Center Camp.
Oh, amazing! Yay!
With our speakers facing up.
You can just use us. We have a big fire outside with couches, and you can literally just come and hang out. Yeah. It's literally, yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Camp is separated from our stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll go.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's great. Yeah, we're just beyond the roundabout there. Which is really,
So this always happens. I'm like, damn, I only get 24 hours off. Like, how am I going to fit all the fun into 24 hours?
We're right here.
And then, but then I hit the ground running, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like that's maybe 20 hours, 18, maybe 6. It's terrible, but yeah, too much fun. Yeah. Can you just like check in with yourself and all the words that I've shared, and just rummage through everything, see if there's anything you need to still ask me, something you want to say.
I wanted to ask you, do you have the anti-venom there on site, or you have to fly us out?
Okay,
Do you have to fly us out?
Okay, so let me tell you, it's actually super cool. So we are like the best people in the world. Our medics. We have an ultrasound machine if you have blunt force trauma to your abdomen. We have a blood gas machine. We have a fully equipped air ambulance to fly you off. We have an emergency physician. We have an emergency psychiatrist. We have de-escalating people who come and like bring the chill when things are going badly. We have not got anti-venom some years because there was a nationwide shortage, and so there was a shortage. The only reason the guy got flown off is because, scorpion education. Also, we have snake wranglers. About 6 people in our ops team are trained snake wranglers now. It's so cool. You can do anything you want it. If you have an obscure interest, bring it to the burn, and then we'll just make it into a job. That's how this works.
Okay, I can see that.
Snake wranglers, people who can safely work with snakes and move them. So cool. It's so cool. You can find some of our. We have a fire department. We have an entire fire department full of queer people. A fire department who like manage the fires. So what? So scorpions. Do you know how to identify a dangerous scorpion?
No.
Okay, it's very, very simple. Scorpions kill their prey in two ways. They either use their very large pincers at the front, and you'll see they then have a small-ish, in comparison, a small tail. If the tail is smaller than the pincers, that is the less, it's still going to hurt like hell, and it's still going to be very painful, and you're going to have a wound, but it's going to be less dangerous because they are less venomous. If you see a scorpion with small pinchers and a bigger tail in ratio, they kill through their venom, so they are more venomous. So that's the dangerous one. The other ones will hurt like hell. First aid treatment is putting ice on the wound where you've been bitten to slow down the absorption. And then you come straight to medics. But basically, please don't kill them. Please don't kill any nature that you see at Afrikaburn. Because they are our neighbors.
No, guys. Someone has to advocate.
So here's the thing about the land, right? We used to be on other land that we rented for the event. The gift of this land is that we are allowed to use it all year round, I think for like 99 years. But we have a unique, contract agreement with the land. The land is a person in the contract. We don't exploit the land. The land is not a resource. We belong to the land because the land is a gift that holds us. We are in relationship with the land. I think that most of us would rather end the event here and now if it caused us to kill the creatures that live on the land. Because that's not what we're about. So even our contract with the land is a unique way of seeing land, where the land is a person, it's alive, it has its own voice. You don't just come and own land. And of course, in our situation, land like that, our relationship with land, I'm saying that as a person, descendant of colonialists, our relationship with our land is part of our history. It's part of what we're transforming. It's part of changing things. It's to make the dominant culture relational and not commodified. So decommodification principle is no profiting, no branding, no promotion. It's not about the money. The money is an enabling thing because it's energy. We all need money to do things, and we need to float. But no treating Afrikaburn where you launch your product and you have your Instagram, like that's not the thing. So no branding. If there's branding on your truck, we get you, make a cute sign and cover it. We're not into advertising. There's no, you can't launch a product deal with Afrikaburn.
So since there isn't any advertising and I take content of what happens during the course of the festival and I decide to tag you guys on my Instagram.
So I can tell you that. So we have a media department. And all you do is you create an artist agreement with the media department. Like, I'm planning a documentary. This is who I am. You get a media tag. You are making your documentary, it's art. But what you can't do is film a secret promotion for your special Afrikaburn clothes with glitter and sequins and then sneak it onto your Instagram account and be like, buy your Afrikaburn outfits here, because that's commodification.
Okay, so do I have that agreement with the media before I go there?
You can get a hold of Brian. So I think there's a whole registration booth, but you can definitely ask what's the process. But it's a free, it's an enablement of art. It's not gatekeeping. Exactly.
And also just to add on to the land issue, because we're going to be living on the land, right?
Yeah.
So we can't even sweep. I don't know if you guys read through the website. We can't sweep, we can't water anything, don't kill the Scorpios, you know. If you find one, we have so many brave men here, brave, strong men. They will come to your tent and they will take out the Scorpio.
I'll catch the scorpion, no problem.
Patty is also there. She's a strong woman, okay? She's gonna come
and you've lived in the desert for a long time.
You're
You're
out
good.
nicely.
Yeah, I'll take
men will
I'll
make
capture it and take it to my
the
thing.
men must make
Yeah, it's quite devastating.
Yes, you know, because
So,
a bit like that.
do we feel like we're complete? Let's just give it 2 more minutes.
So you know, like you were talking about drugs and how some drugs go together, and I know that I've seen that quite a lot in festivals. That you
Yeah,
got
the trips
tables.
that, yeah, we've got
You
those.
got, is there a procedure that we can print?
You can download that off the internet. Tripsit do a brilliant drug interaction table. It's that color one on the black background.
Yeah, it's nice because it's easy to read. You see,
So
like,
I would download that. You can get a PDF off the internet, share it in your group. I will share with you like a little drug guide. It's not full yet, but we've tried to write it in like, if this is how the science works, then how would I make decisions? Rather than just like boring facts, and then you're like, okay, but what does that mean? So, and then we have a harm reduction expert that's joining us this year. So we could actually come and do a talk at your camp as well. We could talk about, we could totally be like, how do you curate some of the experiences that psychonauts have, you know, explored? We can have a little talk with those that want to know about that.
I have a question from the
Yeah,
Twitch.
yes.
From online. It was about how do you deal with what measures are in place to protect people from false accusations around consent and around sexual abuse and stuff?
Well, yeah. So we do an investigation. And in an investigation, you're looking for third-party confirmations. You're looking for statements. You are analyzing the data. Sometimes we have evidence from WhatsApp chats. Sometimes we have things witnessed. So if rangers had to intervene in an incident and literally separate someone in a situation where someone was being abusive, you know, that is a third-party confirmation. So we're not building cases against people. The process, the investigation is to verify the complaint, decide what is the nature of the complaint. We do a risk assessment. So we look at, so if we have a compelling complaint, we have third-party confirmations, like multiple third-party confirmations. We have statements, we have witnesses, we have evidence, we have all these things. That is a verified complaint. It violates some of our... People are not excluded because of the complaint. They are excluded because they violated our shared code of conduct on the behaviors that are expected at Afrikaburn. And that is very explicit. So, if it's been verified and we see that it is a policy violation, then we look at the policy and we say, for this type of situation, what are the steps that need to be taken? And those steps are restoring safety for the person that was harmed, trying to assess and analyze the risk and the safety risk that they pose to other members of our community. And based on those risks, what reasonable steps can we take? If let's say it's sexual harassment and someone is quite unmindful and they say, fuck, I just didn't know, I'm so sorry that this person was harmed, I'm not aware of that behavior. Accountability agreement. Okay, you showing up, you want an accountability agreement. Who's gonna hold you accountable? It's not gonna be us. You're making an agreement to be accountable. Who from your community that knows you, loves you, has a relationship with you in the default world, wants to be your buddy? Do they know that if this accountability agreement is broken by you, they will have to drive you off site? They'll have to stop their party, drive you off site. Are they willing to show up for you in that way? Yes, they are. Great. Is there anyone else in your camp, like your camp lead, that needs to know that they are agreeing to enter into a deep learning and transformative process with you, that the camp is now saying, we're going to hold this, we know what's going on, nothing is hidden, this is the accountability, this is staying in community. And if these things happen, the agreement will be broken. Then you may be asked to leave off site, because the accountability agreement is how you're showing up to stay in relationship. If there's no way to stay in relationship and you pose a risk to other people for harm, then we, by law, have what's called a duty of care. We have a duty to create safety for our crew. we have a duty to provide safety for the participants. If we are aware that a crime has been committed in the real world, so we've had people who've had court cases underway for example, rape. We want to know that that person has bought a ticket to Afrikaburn, and we have certain criteria by which that's not safe participation. It's not to exclude people when there's opportunity for relationship. It's to prevent harm. And it may be that if we deal with the risk immediately, and there can be remediation in the future, perhaps we've not just prevented harm, but we've provided an opportunity for accountability and growth. That's the hope anyway. Yeah.
No, it's just a follow-up, which was, like, I guess, at what point do you engage with the accused party? So as in, I guess, obviously, if you do the investigation, you discover that they have violated the conduct. But at what point before that do you contact the
So
jury?
we'll notify them that we have a verified complaint.
Right, so you verify first. And then
Yeah, because we can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
And we must remember that some people who are involved in a complaint can retaliate against people that they think could have named them.
Yeah.
So that is if we initiate a conversation, we have to follow the whole safety process through. And if we do act, we've got to think about what are the safety implications for everybody. So we have to do that. So once we have a verified complaint, we will then notify the person and invite them to a meeting. In that meeting, we will discuss the nature of the complaint, what some of the remedies might be. We'll find out from them what their side of the story is. They can make a statement. They're allowed to bring someone to that meeting. They can bring a few people to that meeting. And then in that meeting, we will process what has happened, the nature of the complaint, and what we can and what we can't do as follow-on actions from that meeting. Yeah. And there's an appeal process as well. They can also appeal formally to the directors or to the EXCO, the executive committee. Yeah.
Well, I just want to ask something because I feel like we've been talking a lot of this is a heavy topic.
Heavy for all of
so
us.
I just want to lighten up the whole mood and situation. But I just want to know, what are the most positive or what are the pros of experiencing or being part of the Afrikaburn?
Sure.
In the default world.
Sure. That's like asking me which part of the kaleidoscope is your favorite. So every burn is unique because every burn is a new set of people making the thing that we all experience together, right? So I have to say, it's impossible to separate the people from the art, from the volunteering, from all of our initiatives in the default world, like Hammer School. Like we have a school. Well, do you want to just tell us quickly about Hammer School? So there's the event, there's the movement for social transformation, and then there's the event, the movement, and things happening in the default world. So yeah.
I was lucky enough to be involved in Hammer School this year, which is a program that uplifts women and non-binary people to upskill them through a series of workshops which are led by women and non-binary people in terms of build welding, woodwork, rigging, all sorts of stuff, and they work over a number of weeks to attend these workshops and then build something that is then transported to Afrikaburn, and everyone as a part of that comes to comes to the desert just beforehand. I went with them last week, and then we install what we've spent time working on, and I think most people then come back and attend the event also, whether they're doing rangers or gates or volunteering, and then they can come and see what they worked on. And this year they worked on a number of wells with drinking water in it as a kind of a gift that this is a central space, and they have welded these amazing frames on boxes to hold water Jojo tanks, and then everyone created their own beautiful shade so the water can stay cool. And it was such a wicked project. So the majority of that was all about upskilling and the spin-offs from what this event is, and I think including what we're doing with our camp. That's the best bit for me.
Yeah, we have, so because we're in the Karoo as well, so we have a cart horse health project where we have once a year people can, vets and shoeing and health, it's really lovely, it's one of our favorite projects. And then when people leave Afrikaburn, if they have non-perishable foods, it's called Collexodus. Everyone exoduses the space. We collect everything from the community, and then that feeds a local boarding school for a whole year. So what we collect and we return, it's really cool. So we have a lot of positive relationships. I think one of the cool things that's happened is a couple of businesses have sprung up in the Karoo along the road, because so many people now pass. We go to site over the year, we do projects, and also from the event, that a number of businesses have opened where people can actually stop by. So I know that when people move through Cape Town, through the Western Cape, you can actually quantify how much money is generated in the economy just from people traveling to the Burn and stopping for water, going to Ceres, buying fresh fruit, and stopping at the bottle store. And there's sort of a tradition, and people have been in the desert for ages. They're all eating steers in Ceres on their way back. So there's a lot of positive spin-off of our activity together as people. Yeah. What else is, just so much. Yeah. So I don't know if there's enough of the group left, but I would just like to hear one word about how you're feeling about going to the Burn. But first, a question.
Yeah, we talked a lot about safety and other stuff, but in terms of physical safety, like what do I need to pack, make sure I have, what can I get on the way? We've talked about the anti-venom and other things, but what do I need to make sure I have? Sunscreen, is it cold? Oh my gosh. How's the environment?
It's the hottest you can imagine, and it's the coldest you can imagine. So I always suggest people bring a small hot water bottle, because you can reheat that water over many days if you've got like a little gas cooker or something. I like to be able to warm myself up once I get into bed, because once I'm cold, I'm cold. Hydration is so important. Drinking water all day, feeding yourselves, sleeping. Oh my gosh, you don't want to not sleep for 3 nights. It's just unpleasant for everyone. Sun cream, hat, warm stuff, even like half finger gloves or whatever, a very warm fluffy jacket, boots, closed shoes, open shoes. If you're going to be washing yourself and the water is going to be put in a grey area, it would be great if that could be natural. So we don't want anything going into the environment that's chemical. But there will be designated ways that your camp will try to manage its grey water, which can't just be like put on the ground. Because it's 10,000 people like brushing their teeth on the desert. So you normally you spit into something, you make sure that you manage all your waste, leave no trace, and then bring all your minor things like headaches, like getting bitten by something, bring some ointment, plasters, all the minor things that you think could be health things. Bring your own basics, because the medics are there, but if we use their resources handing out 5,000 plasters, then we have tired medics and we need them for emergencies. So headache pills, magnesium, rehydration, bananas, healthy things. Think about a balanced diet, just the extremist hottest and the coldest. Oh, and a light. It's really important that you have a personal light. So whether it's a head torch, or even if you don't, if you've got a cheap little torch and you need to stick it to your clothing somehow, but you need to be able to see where you're walking at night, especially when you're missioning over things to get to a piece of art and you realize, oh, there's no road here and I'm just stumbling over bushes, so you don't want to fall down and hurt yourself like that. And also people are driving art cars, so you can get knocked over, or someone's on a bicycle with no light and or you're lying on a blanket under the stars and someone ka-dunk over you. Yeah, so just have a light that means you can light yourself as you move around. Yeah.
We also have a packing list as part of our camp, so we can send that.
Yeah.
We can send that on. We'll make that available in the stuff.
Yeah. Okay, final thoughts. I'm feeling excited, happy. Yeah. Does anyone else have a feeling they want to share?
Yeah, excitement.
You're anxious, fair enough.
I'm excited and anxious.
I mean, they're cousins or friends, aren't they? Any other feelings? Anxious, excited, happy? It's good. Yeah, you don't always need it. You don't always need it. Prevention is your best cure.
Curiosity as well.
Feeling curious?
Yeah,
Okay, that's nice.
really,
You're like, oh, what's going to happen? Who are these people? What am I going to do?
Also, is it more advisable to travel solo?
No, don't do that. That sounds terrible. Communal effort.
Have a buddy.
Communal effort. Communal effort. You want buddies, and you know,
No, I'm just
the
asking.
journey
Some
is also
people-
on the road.
Some people like. let me not
Flat
talk-
tires. Not advisable. Flat tires. Flat tires.
Who are you gonna talk to? Like, not just people that do that.
Oh no, why? Oh no. All right.
I mean, it would be hard to bring
With no
everything by
ticket.
yourself. You have to have all your food, all your water, all
Oh, they got a
your-
ticket.
As you're traveling, right?
But it's not
So you
like
basically-
it's
Okay,
so
they've got a
you
ticket.
need like a kind of like a big camping. It's not a big camping bag, but like a traveling bag. As you're
more like
moving
a
from-
trailer.
Okay, I think are we done?
Yeah, I think so.
Group hug in our hearts, though. Yeah, we're so far.
Look to your neighbor.
I'm very happy you're all coming. What took you so long? Yes.
Even your friend opposite neighbor.
Thank you for. Oh my gosh. Oh, it is here. I'm only reliable in a crisis or an emergency.
I think that'd be great if the first week every morning we just gather together and like learn to know each other.
Okay, can we all say a massive thank you to Cath for the workshop? I think that was really great. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who tuned in online as well. And shout out. And we'll see you all in the dust.